Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great-Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
We go back 76 years this Sunday to December 4th, 1946, an episode of The Great-Gildersleeve, as the Jolly Boys, they are adopting an orphan. Yeah, and, the old bachelors, this is going to be fun for them. Thank you for tuning in on this Sunday. This is the 4th day of December, the 338th day of the year, 27 days left until we get to 2023. 38 colonists from Berkeley Parish in England disembarked in Virginia on this date in 1619 and gave thanks to God. This considered by many to be the first Thanksgiving in the Americas. Father Jacques Marquette founded a mission on the shores of Lake Michigan in 1674 to minister to the Illinois Indians. The mission would later grow into the city of Chicago. At Fraunces Tavern in New York City, General George Washington formally bade his troops farewell in 1783. Sherman's march to the sea at Waynesboro, Georgia in 1864, forces under Union General Judson Kilpatrick prevented troops led by Confederate General Joseph Wheeler from interfering with Union General William T. Sherman's campaign, destroying a wide swath of the South on his march to the Atlantic Ocean from Atlanta. Union forces did suffer, however, more than 3 times the Confederate casualties. Former Minnesota farmer Oliver Hudson Kelly founded the Order of Patrons of Husbandry, better known today as the Grange. Notorious New York politician Boss Tweed escaped from prison and fled to Cuba, then to Spain in 1875. President Woodrow Wilson sailed for World War II peace talks in Versailles, becoming the first president to travel to Europe while in office. President Roosevelt closed down the Works Progress Administration in 1943 because of the high level of wartime employment in the U.S. By a vote of 65-7, the Senate approved participation in the United Nations on this date in 1945. 1954, the first Burger King opened in Miami, Florida. In 1969, Black Panther Party members Fred Hampton, Mark Clark, shot and killed in their sleep during a raid by 14 Chicago police officers. The Montreux Casino in Switzerland set on fire in 1971 by someone wielding a flare gun during a Frank Zappa concert. The incident would be noted in the Deep Purple song Smoke on the Water. Following the murder of Mayor George Moscone, Dianne Feinstein became San Francisco's first female mayor on this date in 1978. She would serve until January of 1988. It was on this date in 1979, Jimmy Carter announced that, yes, he would run for re-election.
I would have preferred to postpone this announcement until a later time. However, election laws in certain states require formal declarations of candidacy within the next few days. Therefore, I formally declare that I am a candidate for re-election as President of the United States of America.
Jimmy Carter, the president's approval rating, after 3 years, 28%. In 1991, journalist Terry A. Anderson released after 7 years in captivity as a hostage in Beirut. This was in 1991. He was the last and longest held American hostage in Lebanon. President George Herbert Walker Bush ordered 28,000 U.S. troops to Somalia on this date in 1992 to help restore order in the Somali Civil War. And in 2017, the Pontiac Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan imploded after a day of failure. This was back in 2017. About 30 miles from Detroit, it first opened on August 23rd of 1975. Among those passing away on this date in history, the man behind the Dow, Charles Dow, Dow Jones and Company, Wall Street Journal. Also, Bert Lahr, the Cowardly Lion in The Wizard of Oz. Composer Benjamin Britten, musician Frank Zappa, Little Beaver, the Canadian midget wrestler, and King Curtis Iakea, another renowned wrestler. This is the birth date of the Ogallala Sioux chief Crazy Horse, singer-actress Lillian Russell, also born on this date. Pilot Pappy Boyington. Yes, there really was a Pappy Boyington. Jazz musician Eddie Haywood. Canadian actress Deanna Durbin. From Highway to Heaven and Carter Country, Victor French. And American Murderer, Gary Gilmore, all born on this date. One of the fine game show hosts that we still have alive, Wink Martindale, is 89. Freddie Boom Boom Cannon, Palisades Park, 82. Southside Johnny from Southside Johnny and the Asbury Jukes is 74. Actor Jeff Bridges is 73. Saturday Night Live's Pamela Stevenson is 73. From My Cousin Vinny and the Wrestler, Marissa Tomei is 58. Also from Saturday Night Live, Fred Armisen is 56. Mr. Beyonce, Jay-Z, is 53. Supermodel Tyra Banks is 49. Brooke Tessmacher, retired wrestler, 38. And from Anna's Dream, Lindsay Felton is 38. Oh, Jethro Bodine, Max Baer, Jr., 85 years old today.
Who was she?
Prettiest girl in the hills. Big Mouth Bradshaw.
Old Verna's girl. I hear tell she's kind of fast. Is she ever? Uncle Jed, I was walking past the cabin, and Big Mouth, she calls out the window to me. She says, "Howdy, Jethro." She says, "My ma's just made a big batch of cookies. Come on in and have some." And I says, "Sure your ma won't mind?" And she says, "Ma's gone, and so's Pa. I'm here all alone." Well, Uncle Jed, I was in that house before you could wink an eye.
Can't say as I blame you.
No sooner was I inside, the Big Mouth, she puts a music record on the phonograph machine and commences to sashaying around, a twisting and a turning.
Dancing.
Yeah, I reckon so. Anyhow, she says, "Put your arms around me, Jethro, and I'll teach you the two-step."
What'd you say?
I says, "Listen, Big Mouth," I says, "here we are all alone. Your ma and your pa gone, and you think that I'm going to waste my time dancing?" I says, "Not me, sister. Bring on them cookies."
Jed Clampett always had to have a long talk with that boy. Max Baer Jr., the last surviving member of the Beverly Hillbillies, probably better known for his work in production and directing of movies. He did a lot of that after, let's face it, the Jethro character was just too much to overcome. Max Baer Jr. Is celebrating his 85th birthday today over in Lake Tahoe. So hopefully everybody in the Reno area will wish him the best. Those just a few of the people born on this date, 4th day of December. Now, if this happens to be your birthday...
Hi, we're the four freshmen, and we just want to say, Happy birthday to you!
And from 76 years ago today, December 4th, 1946, Harold-Peary as the Great-Gildersleeve. Thanks for joining us on this Sunday Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station. Thanks for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on this Sunday. Now an episode from Wednesday, December 4th, 1946 of The Great Gildersleeve, starring Harold-Peary as the Jolly Boys sponsor an orphan.
The Kraft Foods Company presents The Great Gildersleeve. It's The Great Gildersleeve, starring Harold-Peary, brought to you by the Kraft Foods Company, makers of a complete line of famous quality food products. Now let's join The Great Gildersleeve. It's a Saturday night in Summerfield, and so we find him, as usual, occupying one of the best of the rickety chairs which furnish the Jolly Boys Club up above Floyd Munson's barber shop. At the moment, Judge Hooker is the only other member present.
Wonder where everybody is.
I can't imagine.
Seems like we're having trouble getting a quorum here lately. Maybe the club needs something.
Possibly.
Well, what'll we do, Judge?
I don't know.
Maybe we could call up somebody.
Who?
I don't know. Club may be getting in a rut. Maybe we ought to take on some new activity. Like, say, bowling.
I don't care for bowling.
All the better. Might help your liver. Wait. Well, here comes somebody. Who goes there?
Well, gentlemen, how are the Jolly Boys tonight? Good evening, Peavy.
Peavy, let me give you a hand with those Cokes.
Thanks, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Stick them right here in the ice bucket. You know, this would be a thirsty club without you, Peavy. Last week we had to send Floyd out for drinks. Where were you?
Last week?
Yes.
Last Saturday?
Yes.
I decided to spend the evening with Mrs. Peavy.
Well, that's no way for a jolly boy to behave, Peavy.
Yeah, that's easy enough for a bachelor to say. You fellas don't have to explain what goes on down here. Why is that old club so important, she said. You see those men all the time anyway, she said. Hard question to answer.
But it's only one night a week, Peavy. No wife in the world wants her husband hanging around every night.
No, I wouldn't say that. Yes, sir, you'd be surprised. Somebody else coming up the stairs. We'll have a quorum yet.
Oh, it's the chief. Hi, Chief.
Good evening, Commissioner. Peavy. Judge.
Hello, Chief. Chief, what's detained you, old man?
Detain me?
Doesn't seem like the old gang gets down here as promptly as they used to. Where's Floyd, for instance?
He's married, too.
Come on, let's get started in on some poker.
Fellas, not yet. Could you let the game wait just a little while?
What for?
Well, in case somebody dropped in. Think how it looks. Cards all over the table. Everybody smoking.
Nobody's going to drop in. Come on, Judge. Let's get the chips divvied up so we can get going.
Fellas, please. As a personal favor.
Hi there, Jolly Boys. Deal me in.
Yeah, deal him in. Hi, Floyd.
Hi, Commish. Hi, Peeve. Sorry if I've been holding you boys up, but I had to take Lovey and dump her the picture. Hi, Judge. Hi, Chief.
Hi, Floyd.
Well, what are we waiting for? Not that I like the game, but I need the money.
I'm counting out the chips, Floyd. Keep your shirt on.
Hold it a minute, Judge, before you deal them.
What's on your mind, anyway, Chief?
Well, I asked a certain man to drop in and visit us tonight. I hope nobody minds.
Who is he? What about it?
Well, he's a friend of mine.
Stop beating around the bush. Who is he?
You all know him, I guess. Don't you all know Dr. Needham?
The preacher?
Yes, a preacher. Nailed me after church on Sunday, said he wanted to talk to us.
Tonight?
In a few minutes, I guess. He said around 8:30.
Chief, you might have given us a little warning.
Well, maybe I should have, but I was afraid you wouldn't come.
I would have worn a blue suit. That's a cinch.
Fellas, don't you think we ought to put the cards away?
Thanks, Peavy, old man.
Yeah, the chips, too, Horace.
I suppose you're right.
How about all them bottles laying there in that tub of ice? That don't look so nice to a, you know.
Where can we put it? Drag it over here and stick it in the closet, Chief.
Okay.
We ought to open a window, too, fellas. Gets to smelling like a joint up here.
I'll open it for a minute.
Mr. Gildersleeve, why don't you throw out that cigar?
Well, all right. Where can we dump these ashtrays? Gosh, Floyd, you might clean up the place once in a while.
How'd I know a preacher was coming?
Then shut your window. I'm cold.
Let her air out a minute more, Peeve. Hey, I think he's turning in the alley.
Huh?
Yep, it's him.
Well, it don't look great, but it looks better than it did.
Sure. Ain't like he was coming to inspect a Sunday school.
Floyd, do me a favor. Watch your language, will you?
Don't worry about me. I've been around lots of preachers.
Shut up.
Well, if it isn't Dr. Needham. We were just chatting about you, weren't we, fellas?
Yes, we were. Good evening, Doctor.
Good evening, Mr. Gildersleeve. Good evening to all of you gentlemen. Judge.
Evening, Doctor.
Chief.
It's a pleasure to have you with us, Doctor. Let me hang your coat up.
Thank you. And Mr. Peavy, the good apothecary, I'm glad to see you.
Glad to be of service anytime, Doctor.
Doctor, maybe you don't know our other member here, Floyd Munson.
I don't believe
I don't think you know me, Dr. Needham. I go to Dr. Tutwiler down at
Of course. I have a very high regard for Dr. Tutwiler, and if you are one of his flock, Dr. Tutwiler's a fine man, isn't he?
One of the best. Have a chair, Doctor?
Here's a good chair, Doctor. Nice, comfortable one.
I think I'll just sit in the straight chair, thank you. Mortify the flesh and improve the spirit. Well, nice, comfortable club rooms you have here.
Yes, we're quite proud of our quarters.
Well, here was this vacant room over the shop. I was glad to make it available, free of charge.
Is that so?
You weren't being so generous, Floyd. You couldn't make any money renting it.
I'd like to know why I couldn't.
No facilities.
It certainly is cold out tonight, isn't it, Doctor?
It's rather chilly, yes. How long has your club been in existence, may I ask?
Oh, about 2 years, hasn't it, fellas?
3. I recall we organized in the fall of 43.
How many members do you have?
This is it, just the 5 of us.
Quite exclusive. And may I ask just what is the purpose of the club?
Did you say purpose, Doctor?
Yes. What is the purpose of your club?
Well, we don't exactly have any purpose, Doctor. It's just a club.
We just get together once a week and raise a little...
It's social, Doctor. Isn't that it, fellas?
Yes.
Oh, it seems to me I've heard the club had some kind of musical interests.
Oh, well, that too. Yeah, we're kind of a musical club. See, we got a piano.
Yes, it's not much of a piano. I have a Wembley at home.
Good enough for this gang. We just sing old barbershop songs, Doctor.
Oh, I love singing. I used to sing myself when I was a younger man.
You still sing, Doctor. I've heard you take a high tenor on some of those hymns on Sunday.
Well, I let myself go occasionally, but when I was at divinity school, we used to do some real singing, I can tell you.
Did you ever sing down by the old mill stream?
Floyd.
Huh?
No, I don't remember down by the old stream. But there was another song, Love Me and the World Is Mine. Do you know that?
Oh, sure. I care not for the stars that shine.
That's it.
How'd it be if we tried that once, huh, Doctor?
If you gentlemen will permit an outsider.
Don't think of yourself that way, Doctor. You're one of we boys. Come on, fellas.
I care not for the stars that shine. I dare not hope to e'er be mine. I only know I love you. Love me, and the world is
My.
Yes, indeed. I thought that was lovely. Lovely.
How about another round, Doc?
No, thank you. As a matter of fact, I came here with a purpose. Gentlemen, I wonder if you know the work of the Summerfield Orphanage.
Sure, that's where they take care of the orphans.
Shut up, Floyd.
Mr. Munson is quite right. The orphanage takes care of between 25 and 30 orphans at the present moment. But they're desperately in need of funds.
Uh-oh.
So I've been going about appealing to various organizations for aid. I wonder if you kind-hearted gentlemen would be interested in adopting a lovely baby girl.
Doctor.
Well, perhaps I've put it too alarmingly. You wouldn't actually adopt this child. You'd simply contribute regularly to the orphanage in her behalf. And you would accept as a group the responsibility for her. Her name is Christina. She's 8 months old. Lovely child.
Did you have any figure in mind, Doctor?
$10 a month. Now, I don't want you gentlemen to give me your answer right this minute. I want you to think about it. If you care to, you may go out to the orphanage and visit little Christina. Think it over and let me have your decision. I think I know the answer you will find in your hearts. Thank you, gentlemen.
I'll get your coat, Doctor.
Good night, all.
Good night, Dr. Needham.
I told you he was a nice fellow.
He's as nice a preacher as I know.
Well, sure, he's a nice fella, but gee, if this club has $10 a month to throw around, I don't think we ought to blow it on a baby. I'd rather put it in a pool table.
Floyd, haven't you got any heart?
Certainly I got a heart.
It's only $2 a month apiece.
That ain't the money, it's the principle.
Well, I'm in favor of the doctor's proposition. What do you say, Peavy?
Mrs. Peavy always wanted a girl.
I'm for it. Well, Floyd, are you going to be a spoil sport?
Who's a spoil sport, you big son?
You are, you big
fellas.
Oh, the chief having to chill out the Jolly Boys. From December 4th, 1946, a Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, the Great Gildersleeve on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. The news from 76 years ago today follows these important words. Thanks for joining us on this Sunday edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station. We're listening to an episode of The Great Gildersleeve starring Harold-Peary as it was broadcast on NBC 8:30 Wednesday night, December 4th, 1946. In the newspapers of that Wednesday 76 years ago, these were some of the headlines. Housing expediter Wilson W. Wyatt reported last night to be resigning because President Truman failed to reaffirm his authority. An announcement confirming his departure expected from the White House in the next day or two. Wyatt said to be convinced that his veterans' housing program cannot succeed unless his authority is substantially bolstered. Meanwhile, Senator Tom Stewart, the Democrat of Tennessee, planned hearings before a Senate Small Business Subcommittee on whether controls now exercised by the housing expediter should be abolished. John L. Lewis yesterday found guilty of criminal contempt of court, but it didn't stop the coal strike. On the contrary, Lewis responded to the verdict by rising in the courtroom and making a bitterly defiant speech. He accused the judge of depriving the coal miners of their constitutional rights. He said he would firmly stand on his position. After the dramatic scene, the Judge T. Allen Goldsboro sat pondering for 4 minutes in the silent courtroom and then put off sentencing Lewis until the morning. Under the law, he may impose an unlimited fine or prison sentence if he wishes. The plans of 140 million Americans for the biggest Christmas gift swapping and travel spree in history knocked sky high last night by a series of drastic coal-saving orders, cutting railroad passenger service in half, embargoing all non-essential freight, and slashing parcel post deliveries to the bone. With the nation's industry stripping down for a long, drawn-out mine strike, the government announced the general public will have to shoulder its share of the burden by accepting a chill, dimmed-out stay-at-home holiday season. Governor Frank J. Losh of Ohio last night placed an Ohio State Guard company at the disposal of Hamilton, first city in Ohio to be hit severely by the coal shortage, and pledged to use every power in his possession to help the federal government achieve a defeat of surgent dictatorship and a triumph of the people. The governor announced that at the request of Mayor William Beckett and City Manager F. L. Buckner, he had instructed Adjutant General Donald F. Pancoast to make available to Hamilton a guard to aid the local police in the protection of the lives and property of the people of the city, which will be in complete darkness on account of the coal strike. The automobile industry last night prepared drastic reductions of production schedules, effective almost simultaneously with the government's embargo on freight shipments at midnight Thursday. The automaker said mass layoffs will begin Friday and will become progressively greater as the tie-up continues. Spokesman admitted that the slow strangulation of steel shortages would have forced most operators down within 2 weeks, even if the embargo had not been declared. Best estimates were that the first layoffs will affect 200,000 of the 600,000 auto workers, and that total will soon be raised to 400,000. In Oakland, California, masses of pickets began withdrawals from Oakland downtown streets late yesterday as unconfirmed reports spread that the paralyzing protest walkout of organized labor, which brought industry and transportation to a standstill, would end. As the general strike stopped transportation, closed up business houses, and suspended publications of newspapers, a citizens committee, a strike committee, and a newly named city manager met to find a solution. Sporadic fistfights broke out on the downtown streets early in the day, the streets thronging with milling pickets despite a drizzling rain. A citizens committee, an AFL strike committee, and the newly named city manager met to seek a solution. Meanwhile, the Oakland Tribune missed publication for the first time since its establishment in 1874, but its radio station, KLX, carried on. Because of the mass protest walkout of organized labor left the East Bay's 1 million people without newspapers, KLX canceled all commercials and scheduled programs and converted into an information center. Those some of the day's top news stories as reported in the newspapers of Wednesday, December 4th, 1946, on your radio, The Great-Gildersleeve, which continues now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Let's be jolly, boys. What did Dr. Needham think if he could hear us calling each other names?
I didn't call anybody names.
Well, let's think about what the doctor said, fellas. We shouldn't rush into this. We should look in our hearts. Floyd, would you do one thing? Before you decide, would you go out there with us and look at the little girl? Little Christina?
Well...
Come on, Floyd, that's fair enough. Look at her and then we'll decide.
Well... All right, but now for the love of Pete, can we play poker for the rest of the evening?
Deal the cards, Horace. Let the chips fall where they may.
76 years ago, December 4th, 1946, the Great-Gildersleeve on this Sunday Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. The conclusion follows these important messages. On Monday's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, an episode of X-1 from 66 years ago, December 5th, 1956, the Ray Bradbury stories There Will Come Soft Rain and 0 Hour. One about the death of the House of the Future, the other story about the coming of drill and the game of invasion. That's coming up on Monday's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, anytime, classicradio.stream. But right now, the conclusion of the Great-Gildersleeve, 76 years ago, December 4th, 1946.
Now let's get back to the Great-Gildersleeve.
Here he comes, Marge. All right, Bertie, he's down. Hi, Unc.
Good morning, children.
Why, Unky, your vest. Don't tell me you're going to church with us.
Of course, I always go to church on Sundays. Well, I always try. I don't always make it, perhaps. Leroy, how many times have I told you, if you must read the funny papers...
I'm going to pick him up, don't worry.
Now come and sit down.
Did you have a good time at the club last night, Unky?
We had a very lovely meeting, yes. Leroy, if you're trying to crawl into that glass, it can't be done.
I'm just trying to get all the juice.
Well, sip it politely. No back somersaults. Remember, this is Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a very nice meeting last night, children. Dr. Needham was there.
Dr. Needham at the Jolly Boys?
What's so strange about that? What do you think goes on down there?
What does go on down there, Unc?
Never mind. It's for grown-up.
What was Dr. Needham doing there? Is that why you're going to church?
Well, as a matter of fact, it's something that might interest you, children. How would you like to have a baby to take care of?
A baby? Unky, do you mean it? Oh, that'd be wonderful.
Now, wait a minute.
Did you hear that, Leroy? A baby? I'd rather have a dog. Oh, but think what fun it'd be. You can do lots more things with a baby. Feed him and dress him and bathe him and play with him.
Wait a minute.
You can't teach him tricks. You can so. Dogs are smarter. They are not. You were a baby once. You mean to say you're not smarter than a dog? Well, it depends. Would it be a boy baby or a girl baby? And where are we going to get it?
I'm coming to that if you'll just listen a moment. Oh, good morning, Bertie.
Sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Gildersleeve. It's that it's that waffle iron. It went and stuck again.
That's all right, Bertie.
Bertie, we're going to have a baby. Yeah. How's that?
Yeah. Don't worry. It isn't going to make any work for you, Bertie. We're not going to have the baby here.
What? What good is a baby if you can't have the use of him?
Let me explain, will you?
Okay.
This was an idea of Dr. Needham's. He thought it would be nice if different organizations around this town would each undertake to provide for some child out of the children's home. Sort of sponsor it and be a godfather to it. and pay for its upkeep next year.
Oh, I think that's real nice.
Yeah, so do I.
You're going to do it then?
Well, we're going to go out there to the home this afternoon and look over the proposition. As a matter of fact, one of our members is holding out.
Who?
Never mind.
Why don't you throw him out of the club?
That's not the way that clubs are run, Leroy.
Piggy threw me out of his club. I threw him out of mine.
Well, the Jolly Boys try to be more democratic. Besides, we can't throw him out. He owns the clubroom.
Mr. Gildersleeve, how old is this baby you're talking about?
Well, I believe about 8 months, Bertie. She's a little girl.
Oh, I was thinking maybe I could knit her a sweater or some booties or something.
Well, I think that would be lovely. I thought you children might like to contribute a little something, too, out of your allowances. As a Christmas gesture. 25 cents a month, say?
I'd love to.
Would we own part of it? The baby, I mean?
Well, I'd say you'd have an interest in her. Certainly.
I'll give $50.
So will I.
Well, that's very generous, children. I'm glad to see you respond that way.
Is she cute, Unky?
Well, I haven't seen her myself yet.
All babies are cute.
Has she got a name?
Let's see. Her name is Christina.
Oh.
Couldn't we change it?
Huh?
Why, Christina's a beautiful name. I love it.
It's crazy. I never heard it before.
Oh, well, what do you know?
Listen, I'm paying $50 for this kid. I got a right to name it.
Children. Christina is the name she was born with, my boy. You get used to it.
No, I suppose we can call her Chrissy. Say, when can we go out and see her, Unc?
See her? Well,
Hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make her a scrapbook. Kids are nuts about scrapbooks.
Huh?
When can we go out and see her, Unc?
Why not this afternoon?
Yeah, this afternoon.
Well, I'm afraid that wouldn't be a very good idea.
Oh, why not?
You see, this is a club affair, and besides, so many people all at once might scare the baby.
We wouldn't scare her as much as you will.
And the chief of police. How would you like to see him leaning over your crib?
Yes. Tell you what I'll do, children. I can't let you go this time, but when I get back, I'll tell you all about her. How's that?
I told you, Marge, a dog is better.
All right, eat your breakfast. Cigar, Judge, while we're waiting?
No, thanks, Gildy.
Peavy?
Thank you. I never smoked the things.
Yeah, that's right. Chief?
I don't know that we ought to smoke in here, Commissioner.
Why not? If we're careful, we're not going to set the home on fire.
What isn't that? I don't think it'd be a good example for the children.
There aren't any children around. They're all outside playing.
Just the same, it wouldn't look good.
Chief is right, Gildy.
All right. I won't smoke myself then. There's an ashtray there. The superintendent must smoke.
Well.
Thanks, miss.
Floyd.
Yeah, fine.
Hiya, gents. Chief.
Well, we didn't think you were going to make it, Floyd.
Gave you my word, didn't I? Just the same, I almost didn't. You should have seen me trying to convince Lovey I was coming out here this afternoon to see a baby. Asked me how old was the baby. Was she a blonde or a brunette? Still don't think she believes I'm out here. I don't believe it myself. Well, what do we do now?
Just sit down and wait, I guess, Floyd.
Yeah, Christina's asleep.
Who?
The baby.
Oh. Well, what do we do? Just sit here till she wakes up?
Till the nurse comes for us.
Huh. Oh, well. I feel kind of foolish. What are we doing here, anyway? We nuts or something? You guys got me into this.
Maybe it's like Dr. Needham said in his sermon today, Floyd. Children bring out the best in people.
There's a lot in that, Floyd. A lot in it.
Well, don't look at me.
You're the one who's holding out, Floyd.
Oh, look, now, don't get me wrong. I got nothing against kids. I'm for kids. But when it comes
this
to
is your chance to prove it.
Now, Commissioner.
Well, tell him to put up or shut up.
Gentlemen, the baby's asleep.
She's down in the nursery. She can't hear us.
Commissioner, I don't think we have to worry. Now, Floyd may talk tough, but after all, he came here this afternoon, and I think we can take that to mean that...
Oh, no, you don't, Chief. I said I'd come here, and I came, but that's all. I ain't joining no baby syndicate. Like I said before, if you want to have a club where we have a little fun once in a while, quiet.
She's awake now, if you gentlemen would like to come this way.
Oh, thank you. Go ahead, Chief.
After you, Commissioner.
Judge?
Thanks, Gildy. Come on, Floyd. Peavy.
Just follow me, please.
Oh, nurse, say,
Yes, sir?
I brought along a little something for the baby. Candy reindeer. I don't think it'd hurt her.
Well, that's very nice of you, but I really don't think she ought to have it.
No? Well, you know best, of course. That's why I asked.
You better frisk the rest of this gang, nurse. I bet they're loaded with stuff.
I'd be glad to keep the reindeer if you like and give it to her when she's older.
Would you? Thanks.
Right through here, please. I'll just go ahead if you don't mind and see if she's still awake.
All right, miss. We'll wait outside, Foss.
It's the first time I was ever in an orphanage. It don't look so bad.
That nurse don't look so bad either.
Nice motherly type.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't know. She's not so motherly. It's the uniform.
It's all right. You can come in.
Go ahead, fellas.
Quiet now. No rumpus.
Some gentlemen to see you, Christina.
Look at that.
Well, what do you know?
Come here, Floyd. Look.
Huh. You know, I think she looks a little like you, Commissioner. She's got your double chin.
Cute, isn't she? Who gave her the rattle?
Oh, that's standard equipment.
Go on. Play with your rattle, Christina. Play with your rattle. Doesn't want to play with the rattle, I guess.
Just lies there staring at everybody. Well, what do you make of all this, Christina? What do you make of all this?
She says, I just wish all these big bad men would go away and leave me alone.
Hello there, Christina. Can you say hello? Can you?
Oh, for heaven's sake. Of course not, you old goat. She's only 8 months old.
Well, no harm in asking.
Hey, look. Look.
What?
She moved. Hey, that's pretty good for a kid only 8 months old.
She's a smart girl, Floyd. Aren't you, Christina?
Oh, you better back off there, Commissioner. She's going to cry.
Huh? Oh, dear me. You wouldn't cry, would you, Christina?
Look at that little lip quiver.
Here it comes.
Oh, gosh, I didn't mean to scare her.
Here, let me try. What's the matter, kiddo? Look, see the pretty rattle?
She's not interested in the rattle, Floyd.
Hey, she smiled.
That wasn't a smile, Floyd. That was gas. Babies do that when they have a bubble.
It was so a smile, wasn't it, nurse?
I'd call it a smile.
Yeah, what'd I tell you? Tell me I don't know about babies. There she goes again. I think the kid likes me.
Oh, I wouldn't touch her. Floyd!
I ain't touching her. She grabbed hold of my finger. Look at that.
Well, I'll be darned.
She won't let go of it either. Little son of a gun. Grabbed hold of my finger.
I guess she does like you all right, Floyd.
Pretty lucky.
The little son of a gun. Say, miss, you don't suppose I could hold her for a minute? Nah, I better not.
Before we go home, let's settle this, fellas. What do you think?
Listen, that's a smart kid, you know it? That's one of the smartest kids I ever saw for her age. She ain't like most babies, just lie there. She's got personality, you know what I mean? She's smart, too. Sure.
Gentlemen, it's moved and seconded. What the heck, we don't have to be so darn formal about this. You all know the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Baby adopted. Wonder where everybody is.
I can't imagine.
This is just as bad as last week. Wait, here comes somebody. That's you, Chief?
Hiya, fellas.
Floyd!
You're late, Floyd. Where are all the others?
Peavy phoned he's staying home tonight with the wife.
How about the Chief?
Him, too. He's refereeing the kid basketball game down to the Y.
Yep.
And he's going straight home. I gotta be going myself.
What?
Yeah, I got Lovey waiting for me down in the car. Well, I guess I'll...
Floyd, wait a minute.
Yeah, stick around.
Can't. Sorry. Lovey and I going to the movies. Give her a break for a change. Good night.
Night, Floyd.
Well, what'll we do, Judge?
I don't know.
Maybe we should call up somebody.
Who?
I don't know. You know something? That baby could ruin this club. Good night, folks.
The Great Gildersleeve is played by Harold-Peary. It is written by John Wheaton and Sam Moore. The music is by Jack Meakin. Included in the cast are Walter Tetley as Leroy, Louise Erickson as Marjorie, and Lillian Randolph as Bertie. Judge Hooker is Earl Ross, and Richard LeGrand as Mr. Peavy. This is John Lang saying goodnight for the Kraft Foods Company and inviting you to listen in again next Wednesday for the further adventures of the Great Gildersleeve.
December 4th, 1948, The Great Gildersleeve here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Visit my webpage, classicradio.stream. Stream our shows on demand. Learn about classic radio collecting. You can also contact me there, find our social media links, and you can join good people like Larry Baker, who bought us a coffee. In fact, he bought us several copies, and we appreciate that. That helps us acquire additional classic radio productions and keeps our distribution channels going. That's at classicradio.stream, the Buy Me a Coffee function. Thanks for tuning in. Please thank this station. Support their advertisers. Tell your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.